Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, December 19th. Guys, if you don't have Christmas done, you better get your asses in gear. It's a guy thing. We wait till the last minute, right? So I thought today's video would kind of go back through and rehash the three of them and the pros and cons of each and what is it that you really need. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, the 19th of December, 2024. We're almost to 2025, and I have problems. The first couple months are still writing down 24 instead of the year 2025. And probably you guys have the same issue. But what are we talking about today? Well, it's the pros and cons of everything, and how deep do you really want to be? And we can start off with becoming a dealer for the major brands, all right? You've got hoops to jump through. You got to have a good, solid business plan for yourself. You should be doing that anyways. And you have to be legit, which means you got to have a name of the business and a tax ID. And the other thing most of them require is that you are actually running a repair shop. Now, with me, I got away with it where we were selling a hell of a lot more parts than just through the repair shop. And they just kind of turned and put the blinder on because we were both making good money out the deal. But what are my recommendations to you? Well, if you are a weekend warrior where you're working on stuff or you're a retired do-it-yourselfer, I'd say you're crazy to jump through all the hoops. You really are. What advantages do you have by signing on with these dealers, these distributors? Because they're going to require you to spend, probably $1,000 or more in parts. And then they're going to require you to order at least so much a year or become inactive. They do have a minimum. And if you aren't reaching their minimum, they just take you off the list and you don't have access to anything you have there. And plus you still have their old crappy parts. So if I were a weekend warrior do-it-yourselfer or even a entry-level dealer, that I had my tax ID, I had my business name and repair shop. Most of the stuff that I'm buying today for our repair shop is coming off from eBay or Amazon. I'll be honest with you. Do I have customers that want the OEM stuff? Yep. But a lot of times when I look at what my cost is on that part, right? Let's say it's $10. The part is $10. But what I have to figure out is, with that part, I'm going to have to pay shipping, right? And a lot of shops, what they tend to do is they'll take and start an order Monday morning, okay? Or they'll start an order Saturday morning. And what they do is they keep adding what parts customers need to that list until they reach Friday. And hopefully by Friday you've got enough parts from one distributor to offset the shipping on it, because the shipping is gotten just way out of hand. I mean, a lot of the businesses are not only charging you actual shipping, but a added charge because they have employees that they're paying that are doing the shipping. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of, well, why are they charging more than the actual shipping? Well, because somebody has to do the boxing and shipping and somebody has to pay for the materials, like the boxes or envelopes. Unless you're like me I use USPS 95% of the time. And why is that? Because they supply me with the boxes, they supply me with the envelopes and everything else. And with being an eBay seller, I also get, we have 2 accounts on eBay. I also get, as part of my storefront, free padded envelopes that I'm allotted up to a certain amount. I think it's $50 per account. So $100 in padded envelopes a year. And I buy mostly the smaller, which a lot of parts will fit into. But we never padded the shipping. We just charged the actual shipping amount. And I felt that the cost of having someone ship it was already built into what the selling price was, all right? And a lot of times on eBay and Amazon, we do free shipping. And the thing is there is no such thing as free shipping. Honest to God. Somewhere you're paying for that shipping. So if you go on to eBay and you're looking at, oh wow, it's free shipping, and it's my account or anybody else's account, they had that padded in there. They know what I do is I take the farthest point from me, and whatever the shipping is, I add it into the cost. Now, if it's closer, I'll make a few bucks on it. But if it's way over in California, I'll break even on the shipping costs, and I'm okay with that. But with dealers, on average, you're going to pay $12 and up to have something shipped to you. And the other thing you have to watch out for, like with a number of these companies, including the aftermarkets, if your order isn't up to a certain amount, they could tack on a additional fee for handling because it's a small order, right? But most dealers will carry it through until Friday and then put in their orders to the distributors. The bad part is if you're waiting on that part and you're thinking, well, they ordered it, good chances are they haven't even ordered it yet until Friday. Now, on the other hand, if you're looking, you're doing repairs and stuff like that, if you run over to eBay or Amazon, you're going to find good chances are, in many cases, it's cheaper there than what the cost would be if you had it bought from a distributor and sent to the shop. We find that a lot. So I still do a lot of buying from what I call reputable sellers, ones that have bought from me and I bought from them in the past. It's kind of a two-way street. The Chinese, you got to be careful with. The price sounds great, but they'll tell you it'll fit 1,000 different applications when it will only fit one, or that it's defective and it's not going to work, or it's been rejected by the aftermarket companies or the OEM companies, and they're selling it out the back door as a fix-all for you. So if you get one of these and you put it on and it doesn't change things, it still may be, if it's a carburetor, it still may be the carburetor. And a lot of times, with the OEMs, like with carburetors, they don't send gaskets, fuel lines, adjustment tools, everything else. Chinese do. And it is appealing. Have I bought from them before? Yes. Have I run into issues with them? Yes. Is the ultrasonic cleaner the better investment? Yes. So, weekend warriors and do-it-yourselfers, I wouldn't jump through the hoops. Even someone that's getting a shop up and going, and you're just starting out, and you're strictly a repair shop, You need to go where it's cheapest, and you also need to go where the quality is, so that you're not doing redos, right? Because that's where it starts costing the shop big money, is if you have to do redos, because the redos normally are on you, right? Or on me. So you want to make sure that that unit, when it goes out, has got your stamp of approval on it, because it's your reputation that is on it. And I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of shops close up because they didn't get that. They didn't let that sink into their head, that you are nothing without your reputation. And if you don't have a good reputation within the community, they're not going to bring stuff to you. Being the cheapest is not the best way to approach it. Do customers want it as cheaply as possible? Yes, but they're willing to pay for quality work. So if you're doing quality work, don't cheapen it. You know, you have to make a living too. And for most of you that are starting out, you know, you have a lot of costs that I don't. I mean, all my properties are all paid for. So you never own it, because I have laying the school taxes on it and insurances, and you have to figure all that stuff in of your monthly costs of running that business. And that's why I'm hesitant to have give somebody the advice that it's to go out and lease a building, start a small engine repair shop, and then hope for the best. Because if the customers aren't coming, who's paying for this? And you can expect for the first couple of years that you're just going to be break even or in the hole a little bit. Because during that time, you're building customers, right? And the transition usually happens with you guys that are weekend warriors, nights and weekends, and you do-it-yourselfers. You've been doing this for a while. You've been building your customer base, and now you have enough customers to make it worthwhile to make that next step, right? And for a lot of you, why take that next step? If you're making good money just the way it is, so becoming a dealer isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Yes, if you're running a shop, you should have access to these parts, all right? Because we have a number of customers who want strictly OEM. And we have enough orders coming in between the two eBays, the Amazon, and people walking through the door and clogged with the repair shop, so that we're putting in orders more frequently. When we were doing a lot of business, we were putting in 2 or 3 orders a day. Yeah. First thing in the morning, we put in an order. Then all the sales that took place before noon, we put in another order. And then before 3 o'clock, we put in another order. So, you know, and any of our customers that walked in and said, I need this part, they benefited because we were having a lot of orders. Were other dealers calling us, putting in orders with us? Yes. I encouraged it. If you need something, let me know. We'll put it on the order. Here's the 3 orders periods that we need to have it by. Did distributors get a little bit, pissy because the other dealers weren't putting in orders? Probably. But I didn't care. If you want my order, fine. If you don't, I'll find somebody else that'll fill it. So not to say I had them over the barrel, but we were doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in business a year with each of them. So, they were just trying to figure out how to make us happy. All right, so that takes us to floor planning. Floor planning is not for everyone, but if you're going to run a storefront and a repair shop, that added income is a plus. The bad thing is if you don't sell those units, it's a personal loan. You're paying interest. You're stuck with them. And we talked about how to get rid of them at the end of the year. If you watch all the big box stores, retailers, you will see at the end of the mowing season that they deeply discount the mowing stuff that they have. They're not going below what they paid for it. I can tell you that much right now. But they're selling it at a deeper discount so that they don't have to carry it through the winter, and they don't have to declare it as inventory in stock when they do their taxes with the IRS. They're thinning it out. Do they have to declare the income from selling it? Absolutely. But when you do your taxes in your repair shop, one of the things it says, starting inventory, ending inventory. That means you're forced to do inventory on your inventory. So the least stuff you have there, the easier it is, right? So if you decide to floor plan it and you're winding out the mowing season and you're still sitting on a half dozen mowers, I would suggest you drop them to just above cost. Get them off the lot. Get them off the lot so that when the following spring, when the new ones show up, you're not sitting on a year old. And like I talked to you about, I know shops, they've got stuff 4 and 5 years old and that are still in crates. They have the parts for those units are now discontinued. And as you know, a couple of you mentioned, some dealers have had stuff 35, 40 years still in crates. Hell, you could sell that for an antique. So should you floor plan it? Totally up to you, how comfortable you are in carrying that debt. And big thing is location, location, location. Closer you get to the city, the more eyes you have looking at your stuff. But the closer you get to the city changes the dynamics of what you want to sell. Like if you're closer to the city, push mowers, weed trimmers, and blowers are going to be your, and what do they call them? Snow sweepers instead of snow blowers are probably going to be your bigger sellers. As you move out towards the rural area where you have less eyes, you'll start picking up the riders, snow blowers, and even the compacts. A lot of, of the 3 folks that are doing what I'm doing, but they're floor planning it, all carry a compact of some kind. Like the one that really good friend of mine, John, he's carrying Mahindra, okay? And then the one in the closest town to me is carrying one of the Chinese brands with blue on it. And just so you know, the TMYs and all the other ones, they're all Chinese tractors. I've got an account through Alibaba or whatever you want to, however you pronounce it. And as long as I'm willing to buy a container full of their tractors, which I think is 4 or 5, depending on the size, I can have Eric's tractor written across the hood. And I can have it whatever color I want when I order it. Does it make it any better than the other ones? No. But the Chinese are willing to put whatever you want on those tractors when it comes to color scheme, when it comes to the decaling across the hood. They're all the same beast. But a lot of them are doing the compacts as well. And if you get into floor planning, you're going to find with Cub Cadet and just about every brand, they do have the four-wheel drive units, the what I call glorified lawnmowers that you can run over the deck like with John Deere's on a mower deck. You just drive right over it and hook onto it. And then the quick attach where you can just unhook, back away from it, hook onto the snowblower. They have 3-point hits, they have PTO, they have everything. And you can get pretty good size units. And what they've also added, almost all of them to their arsenals, is carrying the side-by-sides. But you got to be careful. Like Cub Cadet is pretty much a glorified Tractor Supply, Massimo, Coleman. They're all Chinese, and they all have their issues. Biggest thing is how well you take care of it. I saw a Coleman come in that what we swore up and down had to be 6-7 years old, and the friggin' thing was only a month old, and the kid had just destroyed it. Just destroyed it. So when it comes to floor planning, be honest with yourself and make sure it's going to work for your business plan. It's not going to work for everybody. It doesn't work for us. I don't want the debt, and I don't want the inventory that I got to sell at cost because we're out in the most rural area, right? But now if I was in town or in the city, would I think differently? Yep. If people are driving by and I'm getting a lot of eyes on it, good chances are I'm going to get quite a few customers as well. Free advertising by seeing my business name and my assortment out front, right? And if somebody's looking for a Cub Cadet lawnmower or a Bad Boy or Hustler or you name it, if it's sitting out front all nice and pretty and you have a showroom where you can put your higher end ones, absolutely. And then lastly, it brings us to warranty. Depends on how honest you are. And I'll be honest with you, your bigger dealers can get away with it because there is that gray area. And that gray area is where a lot of your bigger dealers and manufacturers not issues, but where a lot of money gets changed hands. All right. And the gray area is the manufacturer, distributor saying, you're doing enough business with us, we'll accept warranty out of that gray area from you. But if you're not doing a lot of warranty for those companies and you're not selling a lot of their products, they're not going to tell you about that gray area. But if you go to a bigger shop, you're going to find that close to 90% of their work is being run through warranty. And that's their bread and butter. You come to my shop, and 90 to 95% of it is running through as non-warranty, as customer error, operator error, because I don't sell their products enough to allow me into that gray area. I mean, do you understand that? You have to sell a lot of units to become qualified for that gray area. And the guy that's on the distributor side that's saying yay or nay, if you are doing good business for them, get to know those people very well and send them gifts, send them chocolate, send them stuff for holidays, because they're the ones going to make or break you. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. But everything, unless it's to an extreme, is okay. If you're doing well nights and weekends or do-it-yourselfer, why change? Unless you want to go full-time. And you're, at least with you, you're bringing a customer base that you already have. Can that customer base float you for a year or two in a new building that's leased or you bought to run a repair shop? Only you can answer those questions, all right? when it comes to floor planning and that stuff, tread lightly. Alright, I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying tread lightly. If you're in an area where you've got a lot of eyes going by your shop, I would be more inclined to. But if not, how are you going to get people to see what you have? You're either going to be paying for Facebook ads, Google ads, radio ads, print ads, and all of that costs money. Warranty work, again, it's that gray area. And if you're not selling enough units, they're not going to invite you into that gray area. And you're going to be in the boat like me where 90 to 95% you have to collect from the customer. And you really have to tread lightly because, my first couple of years I had stacks of non-paying customers. People wouldn't even come back and get their lawnmower. They just walked away from it. And the other thing I'll recommend to you if you do become a dealer is give back to the community. I really mean this. If you give and take care of your community will take care of you. And that means sponsoring cancer runs or being a sponsor for cancer runs. It may be like Busted said, taking one of the units and donating it for raffles, for a cancer run, for church, for, scholarships, you name it. Because if you ever come in need, you're going to need the community to rally around you. And they have around me. Don't do it because you have to. Do it because you want to. And it's the right thing. So on that note, you guys enjoy your Thursday, and we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, thanks so much for supporting the channel, watching the videos, and subscribing. You guys are phenomenal, and I can't thank you enough. Have a great day, guys.